Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to talk about the newest character that's been added to the game, which is the GodCloth version of Shun. Now he is going to be a massive meta changer, so I can already tell you up front, if you do have the resources to pull on him, definitely go for it. You won't regret it. I think he alongside with GodCloth Seiya, GodCloth Hyuga, and GodCloth Iki are probably the strongest character that the game has seen, even to date in the Chinese version. So definitely don't miss this opportunity to pull on him. Now, as usual, I'll be going through all of his skills, his constellation, his clothes, and I'll also finish off with some um, pictures just to show you how to clear off his 12 stages, etc. Alright, now let's start off with his ultimate. So his ultimate doesn't do any damage. It's not a dimensional effect either, but it is able to kind of behave in a similar way, which is that he will get rid of all the debuff, as well as buff your swiftness by I think 75 for 8 seconds. Now 75 is massive, and 8 seconds is not bad either. Oh, and also increased to 10 seconds at a higher level. So that by itself is great. Swiftness basically increase your not only your normal attacking speed, but also how often you can release uh your looping skills, etc. So basically, it reduces the cooldown for everything. So this is going to be a massive game changer, and this is basically what allows GodCloth Shun to also be a really good support unit in boss battle because he is going to allow all of your knights to do attacks a lot more frequently and therefore reach that higher damage overall. Now, on top of that, you are also going to be immune to control effects. So that is also a great ability to have. So overall, this ultimate is just absolutely amazing. Now, moving on to his second skill, which is looping skill. So this one attacks two enemy in the front row. It wouldn't miss. So basically, that basically means there's no need for you to get any extra hit stats on your GodCloth Shun. So for example, if you do plan to reroll on his uh, omega 3 equipments, etc., there's no need for you to go for the hit substat because, to be honest, none of his other skills even do any damage, I believe. Yeah, none of his skills actually do damage apart from this one, and this one can't be missed anyway. So there's no point, using any hit stats on him. So just go for the normal attack, defense, crit, tenacity, etc. Now, that's always the damage side of it, which is not too great, and you're not really expecting him to do damage anyway. So you can kind of park the damage on the side. But what this is actually able to do is more the fact that any damage will be done will be converted to a shield, both for yourself and also a random ally. And at the same time, you're also going to steal 1,000 Cosmo and add it to yourself and also your ally. So this once again is going to be really good because the faster you release your own Cosmo, you would then be able to release your really strong OP ultimate as well. So that's basically what the main mechanics behind this skill is. On top of that, you're also gonna give 1,000 Cosmo and a small shield to an ally. It's random, which I'm not a great fan of. So take that with a grain of salt. But the fact that you are able to give yourself 1,000 Cosmo is already very good. So this is not a skill to be underestimated, I guess. On top of that, his constellation is all about buffing up this one as well, but I'll talk about that later. His third skill, this is his signature skill, and that's basically what makes this character so broken. Basically, if three or more enemies have the same buff, you're able to get rid of the buff. If three of your own allies have the same debuff, you'll be able to get rid of them straight away. And this can be triggered every 3 seconds, which is massive game changer. It's gonna work extremely well in the meta right now when you see loads of Signal GodCloth and also Surplus Shun. But if you ever face them in PvP battles, you know they're really hard to kill off because they just constantly put up shield, etc. However, shield is classified as a buff in this game. So as soon as they put up that shield, you will then be able to get rid of them straight away. So that's kind of what makes it so good in the meta right now. On top of that, there's also Pisces Aphrodite, who is able to do poison, etc. Poison is also another debuff, so this can also dispel that. The only problem with Aphrodite is the fact that his constellation basically gives you poison as soon as you hit him. So even though you can dispel poison once, but as soon as you hit, you'll get poisoned again. So it's not the most effective way to neutralize Aphrodite's poison, but it definitely does reduce his overall poison damage. So that's also a good thing to know. But I think the biggest change this is going to bring to the meta is more the countering of Athena GodCloth and also Surplus Shun, etc. Alright, now lastly we move to his passive. So this passive is basically just a self-protection. Whenever he's hit by any skill, you would be reducing that skill by 75%, and this can be triggered every 4 seconds. 75% is a massive damage reduction. So this is very good by itself. On top of that, you can also counterattack and inflict electricity. So once again, this helps with boss battle because electricity basically increases how much damage they're going to take. So if you're actually able to proc this in your boss battle, you're going to increase your overall damage output as well. So yeah, so this are kind of all his main skills, which are you can probably already tell they're great. You have a really OP ultimate and also a broken trigger skill. So that's kind of what makes this character so strong in this meta. Now we move on to his clothes. At the first level, when you counterattack, you also remove all of the buffs. That's not bad. But to be honest, it kind of overlaps with his trigger skill because the trigger skill will remove buffs anyway if there are 3 or more enemies at once. So this is nothing too amazing. At the second level, or level 10, when the trigger interval is reduced by 1.5 seconds and the damage is increased, you can kind of ignore the damage. You're not expecting him to do damage. But reduce it by 1.5 seconds. That basically means now you can have a 75% damage reduction every 2.5 seconds, which is absolutely crazy, especially if you think about this is skill damage reduction. Looping skills normally have a cooldown or interval of like 6 to 8 seconds anyway. So if you're actually able to do this, it's not just that you're protecting yourself from a single skill attack. You pretty much protect yourself from most of the skill attack from the entire enemy team. So that's great by itself. The next two are all to do with his broken trigger skill. The first one is when he purify, he will also be recovering HP. Sorry, the ally will also be recovering HP, which is nice to have, I guess. A lot of time you probably don't need it, but it does allow GodCloth Shun to have a bit of a healing capability, which he doesn't really have by default. And sometimes it's just nice to have a support unit who's actually able to heal. Now, you can think of this more as a secondary healer, so don't try to use him instead of let's say Aris Moon, who's your main healer. Yes, he can top up your HP by a tiny bit, but he won't be doing bulk of the healing. However, the highest level, 30 close, that is absolutely amazing, which is when the enemy is going to be dispelled, their buff is dispelled, you're also going to stun them for half a second, which is great because what this is that when seeing a GodCloth, etc., put up shows, it's not just talking about yes, you'll be able to get rid of shows straight away because even when you do that, there's also the danger of saying, okay, let's say the enemy have both Aphrodite and also GodCloth Athena, then which buff are you gonna? Oh, actually, sorry, one's buff, one disbuff. Um, so one's buff, one's debuff, so it's different. But let's say imagine if the enemy have Aris Shun and also GodCloth Athena, now you kind of wonder, okay, fine, they will both be putting up shield. So which one would this be actually getting rid of, right? Even if you get rid of one of them, the other one can still activate. However, now it's slightly different because now not only you remove those buffs, you're also going to be stunning them. So the fact that you are bringing your Aris Shun and Athena GodCloth, yes, maybe one of them will still be able to successfully put up their shield. However, the other one will be causing your whole team to be stunned. And stun can potentially interrupt your ultimate, interrupt your skills, etc. It's a very, very harmful effect. Like all control effects are pretty strong in this game. So this already by itself comes with a huge risk. And this can potentially even mean some people may choose to not actually play GodCloth Athena altogether because they know when they actually put up shield, there's a high chance it could actually be backfire and therefore be stunned and therefore interrupt his own skills, etc. So this is going to be a massive game changer, and that's why you really have to get his close up to level 30. Alright, now lastly we move on to its constellation. Its constellation is less of a priority in my opinion. The first one, all the damage caused by Thunder Wave become real damage, so remember this is only damage dealing skill. Now before, because his attack stats already low, if it's no true damage, then you're hardly gonna see much. Now because it's actually real damage, which basically means it actually ignores defense, the damage output is gonna be a lot higher. And that basically means the shield you're going to put up on yourself and also your ally, it's actually now going to be a lot stronger. So that's kind of why this is not too bad. 9 out of 9 is even better because now it's actually increased by 100%. So not only the shield will be twice as strong, but also the cosmo that's going to be stolen will also be twice as strong. So now you're actually buffing yourself up by 2000 and buffing your allies by another 2000 cosmo as well. And if you remember, Ultimate normally takes about 8,000 to 10,000 cosmo for it to be released. So that's kind of why this is actually really strong when you do trigger. Having said that, this is not GodCloth Shun's main signature skill. So if I have to make a choice, I would much rather have level 30 close rather than 9 out of 9 constellation. So just bear that in mind. All right. Finally, we will move on to Elias. Now, for Elias, generally speaking, because he doesn't do any attack, you don't really want any attacking ones. He has trigger skill and also a passive. Now, trigger skill and passive, theoretically, they don't really count alongside with any cooldown. So there's not really any need for you to bring kind of speed, Alaya, etc. either. So if you really have to bring some Alaya on GodCloth Shun, I would say probably the best one are just your standard defensive Allias. And if you don't have enough defensive Alaya, well, maybe you do want your GodCloth Shun to just release his ultimate faster, then yeah, fine. You can still put off the speed, increase your attacking speed, increase your haste, increase your speed stats Alaya on him. That is also absolutely fine. It's really up to you. There's no real hard must-have in terms of Alaya for GodCloth Shun.